Just, I suppose, first of all, after training, what's the squad update at this stage?
We're assessing Benno and we're assessing Stephen Beattie. Both are 50-50. Gary Buckley is sick, so we assess in the morning, and Joshua Hannon has a knock, and that's really where we're at. All the boys that started the other night, and they seem to be okay.
Is it a new injury or a setback on the?
Yeah, we had a match on Tuesday night against UCC. A few of the lads played, and so he's a bit tight. So we just have to a bit careful with him, with the ground being so heavy as well. You know?
Okay, and how's the week gone? Like, it's just good result Monday night makes things. Does that banish Friday night's result?
Well, I don't think it ever banishes it, but I think the thing about for us was that it was very important that when you play two massive matches within 3 days, in terms of that the two main title contenders along Waterford, the turnaround was very quick, and when you don't do well and you give a very poor performance, you know, you're always looking for a reaction. Now, the good thing for us is that since we've taken over this club, the guys have been absolutely phenomenal, but it was disappointing, so we needed to do what the way we can play in, and you know, it was an absolutely fantastic atmosphere at the ground, huge crowd, you know, great game in terms of intensity, passion, and you know, over the game, bar the looping header that hit the crossbar, Mark had no save to make. So from that point of view, you know, in the second half we really had 3 great chances, probably another 1 or 2 half chances, but overall our movement was much better. So it was a significant win for us after Friday night to bounce back, and you know, so that's going from one extreme of last weekend to a different weekend, you know, this weekend.
The back four Monday night, a successful rearranging of a situation you found yourself in, I suppose, and with the lads being 50-50, do you anticipate maybe going with that back four again, or how do you see it?
Well, Ben was the one probably, you know, because obviously he had been an ever-present up to the time of his knock, and so we just assessed it, but the lads did very well, but it's you know, it was a big game for Sean. We have a lot of confidence in him. He's a fantastic young lad. He's really developed, you know, he came through UCC, but he's really matured and developed physically over the last 6 or 7 months as well, and you know, very good on the ball also, and can play. Connor, as we know, another lad who has tremendous talent, but you know, when young fellas are coming through, they need to be consistent, you know, because you know, you don't have the opportunity to play guys in, you know, 8, 9, 10 games just for the sake of playing them games and giving them game time. You have to win, so they have to be consistent. So it's about, you know, playing well one week, making sure your next game is the same. So from that point of view, you know, they both did outstanding, and but tomorrow will be a different type of game. You know, I suppose Rovers was much more in your face, intensity. They play a lot of long ball, they hit the guy direct, Dan Carr, a lot, and they play off him, and he's 6'3" or 4. So from that point of view, you know, it was more of a 50-50 in the sense that they were always going to come and attack you, and you know, you have to stand up and defend. Tomorrow will be different in the sense that Limerick will play in the counter attack, sit in, play in the counter attack. So it will mean we'll have a lot more of the ball. So it'll be a different type of defending where concentration levels will be huge, and they will be playing on the counter, and you need to be, you know, careful that you don't switch off, and they play through balls in for Conor Ellis. So it's a different type of game tomorrow, and so from that point of view, you know, all you can do is deal with the situation as they are. Monday is gone, good performance. Tomorrow is a different game, and Limerick's home form has been quite good.
And you mentioned there, like, there's going to be lots of familiarity between the sides, like with the players that have gone to Limerick from Cork. Yeah,
absolutely, and I suppose that's always a situation where, you know, the lads that are with Limerick, the Cork lads, have been absolutely brilliant players for us. You know, since John and myself came in as management, you know, we've had you know, Mark O'Sullivan. Mark has probably been the best signing we ever had in the club in the context of where he came from, what he did when he came into the club. It's just unfortunate he wasn't 27 or 28 when we took over the team, you know. Obviously Billy was a big player for us, Darren as well, both involved in the run of the first 2 seasons, getting the cup final, coming second in the league both times, and big players for us. Cian Coleman came through our underage, and very committed, lovely fella, doing well for Limerick. Danny, as we know, Danny Morrissey, we've always had great hopes with Danny. Unfortunately, he had a catalogue of injuries, but he scored last week, so and Danny's always a man who can poach goals. Conor Ellis, who was, as we know, was part of the double team last year and has gone out to get game time. So a lot of lads who have done really well for us, and I'm sure they have a spring in their step tomorrow. Looking forward to the game.
Shane really stood up on Monday night, even though he's not much older than Conor or Sean. Shane Griffin, he was outstanding, wasn't he?
Shane was, yeah, and he's a brilliant guy, and I think that's the beauty about a lot of lads get lost across channel in playing reserve football and development football, and where the games mean nothing, and you come here and every game is you have to win. You take abuse if you lose, you take criticism, so you have to stand up and be a man. And Shane got a culture shock when he came back last year from Reading, and he came in the second half of the season after Kevin won a double, and has kicked on this year, and that's what he needs to do, because he has the potential to go back to the very highest level. But what he needs to do is be consistent. He had worked defensively on his game. He's done a lot of work on that through the last 2 or 3 months, and he needs to continue to keep doing that, because he has tremendous pace, great on the ball, very good getting forward, and so he just needs to complete his all-round package. But for us, he's a really, really important player for us.
Talking about fellas getting lost, how is Michael Howard finding all this?
Michael's loving it. He's a lovely lad. I think like that again. Michael was playing development football over there under 21, and he loves being here. And I actually only just said to him there, actually 5 minutes ago, do you need to go home for a few days? And he said no. He said no, why? And I said no, do you need a few days off, or to go home maybe just to say hello? And he said no, my parents are coming home in a couple of weeks. I said grand. So I said grand. So he's, I suppose for him it's, he's in with a professional setup, and walking out and the other night and seeing the atmosphere and Waterford. He, at the end of the day, he's still only 18. Came on a few minutes against Waterford. Probably would have got a run against Sligo, only before we had to make changes in the back and midfield through knocks, and that at the time it would have been unfair against Dundalk, because that would have been a different type of challenge, and that's that was a very physical game along with the other night. But certainly Michael would be a part of the team, and we'll get game time over the next number of months, and with the Munster Cup coming up next week as well. So no, but he's a smashing lad, and he scored the other night in a friendly match against UCC, got a fantastic goal, and he's a bright, bubbly young fella. But there's a big difference sort of coming in here, and and even for him, he's absolutely loving the atmosphere and what's going on, and he's delighted to be training in. But straight away he's seen that even he's been gobsmacked at the quality of the players that are here, and but that's great for him, and he's smashing that. There's no fear with him.
Is it difficult for people like Denny Kane, Toby, Colm Horgan, who are kind of not getting in at the moment, or as you say, you have to continue the thing of everybody's out to get you, so you've got to win games?
Yeah, no, I suppose you'd have to ask them. I'm sure they'd like to play, but in terms of, I suppose when you do commit to Cork City, in the position that we're in, and the position that we want to be challenged for trophies, you always know then that there's a likelihood that you might be in the starting 11, but at the same time all those players are very, very young. Danny's under 21, Toby's under 21, Colm is just 23, so all those guys just want to come in and straight away are absolutely love the scene here, love the setup, are training as hard as they can, and they're looking for the opportunity to get in. But there's absolutely, sometimes when you come in from different clubs and you see that the level, the standard, the intensity, professionalism of the pitch, the strength and conditioning, the diet, nutrition, stuff that they've, the pre-season that we did, and the places we were, it's blowing them away. So from that point of view, they've put their head down. Absolutely lovely fellas, and you just have to wait. 5 games around the season. There's another 45 games left. Those guys will all play major roles throughout the season, but you just can't play everyone every week, and You know, you just can't make changes for the sake of making changes. So from that point of view, all those lads are they're great guys actually.
I'd imagine that's the importance of the UCC game then though, like, you know, if you're not going to throw them in the league, it must have been high intensity stuff against UCC.
Yeah, it was, and good for them because the college are always fit, and the colleges have over the last number of years have turned into a top senior league team and top university team. Now they've always been up there, but they've probably got more professional, which is great for us. And so we play them quite a bit, you know what I mean. And our under 19s play them, our 17s play them quite a bit, and we can then integrate some of the lads for a bit of game time, which is good. So and plus the fact we have Munster coming next week, which is a nice game to have now with the Derry game off. So it gives us an opportunity as well for game time for a lot of those lads.
John, is any good the pitch of Markets Field, or the fact they've played rugby on it, is that any concern to you?
No, I suppose like everything else, you love when the pitch is in good condition, and obviously Markets Field has always been, you know, and but this year I believe they've played a lot of schools games on it, and you know, so we're hearing it's very heavy, it's quite a bit. Don't think you're in this time of year where the weather is that way, and we can't do anything about it, you know. And as I always say, you must look after your own club and your own team and deal with the conditions, and don't be making excuses, you know. And I think in general, to be fair, I don't think I ever blame other teams or other pitches. You have to do it yourself and get on with it. We have to deal with what's the situation tomorrow. All I know is that Limerick will be playing through their skin. I saw them the first game of the season. They won 1-0 away at Sligo. They won last week. Danny scored 1-0 at home. That was at the game against Bohemians. They were 1-up, should have won the game. Bohemians got a last kick the game equaliser. So they've been unbeaten at home and they've a good record. I know they're away from, they've suffered 2 defeats, but you know, that's the type of league it is, in the sense that when you're at the top, teams that people assume you'll get the results off, it doesn't work that way. And if you're not on your game and you're not fully prepared, tomorrow is just no different than playing Shamrock Rovers or Dundalk. You have to be ready to go for the game, because Limerick are going to play above themselves. They're going to rise their game. They're playing at home, and it's a dangerous, very dangerous game, because they play on the counter attack, and they play, you know, 10 people behind the ball and sit in and keep their shape and try and break, and you have to be very disciplined. So it's up to us to create that, and that's the challenge that we have to go to. And you know, it's only in the back of our mind that we weren't there too long ago in last year's running, and we were 2 down after 8 minutes, and you know, we dropped 3 points. So you have to be you know, if you go up there thinking that it's, as I always said, there's no easy game. The only time you get a game easy is if you make it easy for yourself, that you start properly and you get maybe a few goals ahead with maybe 20 minutes to go. But there are very few times that happens. So tomorrow's going to be a dogfight of a match, I've no doubt about that. And you just deal with conditions.
John, are you expecting to have to try to weather an early Limerick storm, given that they're coming in off the back of such a heavy defeat on Monday night? I
wouldn't think so. I think you know, they'll play like I've seen them playing so far, winning away to Sligo, winning the home game against Bohemians, the game against Bray. I think they'll come out and they'll sit in to play counter-attack, keep their shape and hit us on the break, and use the pace of Kearns, Conor Ellis, Billy Denny, Shane Duggan breaking from midfield. So I think that's been their game plan. So I wouldn't think it'll be one where they'll just throw the kitchen sink in the first 15 minutes. Maybe they will.
Would it be similar to a home game? So almost like the way the Waterford game was, and Rovers to an extent?
Yeah, I think it'll be a situation where they'll probably want us to come at them, and they'll sit in and hit us on the break. And I'd say that'll be their plan. But at the end of the day, you know, whatever way they play or whatever tactics they want to use, the bottom line for us is we have to make sure that we're on our game and we can move the ball quickly and try and create opportunities. And you know, sometimes you can get wound up about the other team. You must concentrate on your own team and make sure you can play to your own strengths, and that's what we've been working on this morning.
John, just your reaction to the news this morning that Graham Cummins has been awarded the Player of the Month award for February.
Okay, yeah, good for Graham. Yeah, nice for him to get an award. I suppose, you know, it's, as I said, it's you know, I suppose if players in your club are getting awards, it's good for the club. It means you're doing, the team and the club are doing something right, and it's good for the lads. As I keep saying, I don't get bogged down in individual awards, because it's just you know, people's opinions, and you know, maybe, you know, and that's great. But it's great for Graham, but in the bigger picture, I suppose I'm all about the team and that, and you know, but it's nice for the lads, and I suppose more, I always think with wars like that, and I think myself that sometimes it's good when you look back at them maybe, but you know, you need to be, you know, understand that you're a team player and don't get distracted by that, and you know, but he started well, Graham, and done well and did very well the other night, and we expect him to do well every week, and he needs to do well every week.
We saw more of his kind of beyond the goals the other night, didn't we? Like a lot of his work, I mean, his work rate was very high, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and I suppose, Martin, that's the thing that you look at, you know, previous players, you know, Maguire, Mark O'Sullivan before that, you know, if you have to win anything, you have to have centre forward, you know, this day of, you know, centre forward standing in the top of the box waiting for opportunities to come to you. That doesn't work. You have to have centre forwards who can, you know, vary their game, and you know, Graham's work rate the other night was phenomenal. He was unlucky not to score, but at the same time, you know, you look at the hit a fantastic header off the post, reacted quick for the penalty. You know, as he said himself, should have scored in the second half, a great opportunity. But his work rate was really good. But you need that, because if he's doing that work rate, he's pulling defences around. It's creating opportunities for us, and it's giving us chances to make chances for other players. So, you know, I suppose at the end of the day, we brought him in. We knew that's part of his game, and you know, and he's now got used to the pace of the league here. He knows what we want. He's had to get a number of goals, and the last week with those two physical matches, the intensity was so high. You know, he realises that that's where we're at. So I was very pleased with his performance the other night.